This is my 4th year growing figs. Last year was the first year that they produced figs, which was the first time I was able to try a fresh fig, and it was really good. It is August now, and some of my figs are starting to ripen. Behind me is my potted fig collection, and they have plenty of figs on them. Let's take a look. This here is my brown turkey. This is the first year it's produced figs, and I've had it for maybe a couple years now. Here is a Violet de Bordeaux. I've had it since probably last November. It's currently August. And it's got figs on it, which I was kind of surprised that it actually has figs on it this year. But I have heard that it is good to grow in pots, so we'll see how that goes. Next is a Hardy Chicago. I've actually had this one for a year or two. It is already this year giving me some figs that are ripening. This one here looks like it's almost ready. Starting to get soft, nice solid color. This is one of 3 Hardy Chicagos that I have. This is the only one I have in a pot. Let's have a look at the other 2. This is one of my in-ground Hardy Chicagos. I stuck it in the ground back in March, and wow, it is getting big. This is what it looked like back in March when I stuck it in the ground. I chose this spot because it is next to a structure and should provide a microclimate, especially for wintertime. On the left side, you can see what it looked like back in April, and on the right side, you can see what it looks like now. And this thing just keeps on growing. It's even growing into my rain shield. 2 branches are. I originally put this rain shield here that I made because back in May it was so rainy and cloudy that I was getting fig rust on the leaves. And it was only May. I had to take out some of the branches because the foliage was so thick I wasn't getting a lot of airflow and light into the inner part of the tree or plant. And I found a fig in here the other day that was ripening. Actually, look, I think I have 2 of them ripening. This one should almost be ready. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty nice. But this thing really amazed me by how much it's growing. So let's have a look at my other in-ground fig. This is my other in-ground Hardy Chicago. I have had it the longest. It has been here for about 4 years. I used to have another one right in there that I planted along with this one, but that other one right in there, it died the first winter. So this one, the stems or branches are probably about 3 to 4 feet tall, and it regrew from the base this year. I did use winter protection, but it didn't work that well for the above ground wood. It got down to -2 Fahrenheit a couple of times and -9 Fahrenheit once, as you can see on the left. On the right, you can see where I scratched off some of the bark on last year's growth to check how much damage there was. Parts of the cambium were green, but other parts were dead. If I get real close, you can see where I cut off last year's growth. And these 4 branches that are here now grew from the base this year. And it also looks like I have some figs ripening. Here's this one here. It's still a little hard. This one's getting probably almost ready. Maybe. I actually already got a ripe fig off of here, and it was pretty good actually. So, back to the potted figs. Okay, let's move on. This fig here is a fig known as Winter's Gift. It is actually a Capri type fig. And I got it as a cutting from, I believe it was fighunters.com. And so far, it has not produced any figs at all, which could be expected since it's not that old. But I did start it as a cutting, and this is the first time I've ever tried to start a fig from a cutting. In this picture, you can see the cutting after a couple weeks at room temperature. I had wrapped a moist paper towel around the intended root area and placed it in a sealed plastic bag in hopes of making it grow roots. It did not grow roots, but had little white spots, or root initials, on the entire cutting. I stuck it in a pot and covered the top with plastic, but after a while the green growth that was emerging just stopped. I took it back out, and this is what it looked like. No roots and no root initials. So I decided to get serious with it. I scraped some of the bark off the sides in the intended root zone and coated it with liquid rooting hormone. I then put it back in the pot and put the plastic back on. Then put a heat lamp and grow lights on it. It took quite a while, but this was the result. It worked. Later on, I decided to up-pot it. It was nice to see that those roots that I so badly wanted it to make were growing and circling around the pot. The reason I wanted a Capri type fig was so I can collect fig pollen and caprify or fertilize the edible figs, which is supposed to make them taste better and also make the seeds viable. This Capri fig is supposed to make Capri figs and edible figs. More recently, I am trying to start 3 more fig cuttings. One is the same as this fig, and the other 2 are cuttings from my other figs. but they don't seem to be working. So, is it simply beginner's luck or just the wrong set of conditions this time? I don't know. So let's move on. This is a Celeste. It doesn't have any figs on it, and that's probably due to the fact I really didn't prune it properly, and that's something I can do differently next year. This is a white Marseille. I've had it since probably around last November. Here is a Olympian, and I've also heard that it can be, another name could be English brown turkey. I'm not really sure though. Anyway, this Olympian is the second one I've had. The first one actually died, so this is my second try for an Olympian. And here is my C's Red. It is loaded with figs. And actually, it has one on it that's ripening right now. It's probably almost ready. And this is a nice big fig. It makes me hungry, actually, just to look at it. Now, one thing I've noticed this year is that the C's Red, last year it took about 4 months from fig set till ripening time for the figs. This year, it's at the most been about 3 months for this C's Red. And even the Hardy Chicago is ripening a lot sooner than I would expect it to. And I find that to be interesting. Like, why is it doing that? One big issue I'm having is fig rust, especially with this C's Red. You can see the leaves here have a lot of fig rust on them. I've already lost a lot of leaves. Some of them I had to cut off myself, other ones shriveled up and fell off on their own. And it was so bad on this C's Red last year that I was concerned I wasn't going to have enough leaves to finish growing the figs and ripening them. Also, this brown turkey seems to have a fig rust issue, although it's not as bad. And a few of the other ones, even this Hardy Chicago has a little bit. Not that bad though. And the thing is, I'm not really sure why I have this problem. It seems to just be the potted figs that have this problem. The two in-ground Hardy Chicagos don't really seem to be affected by this fig rust problem, and I don't know why. If you have any suggestions or ideas about this fig rust problem, or any other thoughts or ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe. And thanks for watching.